Good morning once again. Another episode of the Morning Call with Jerry Burke and Bob Sellers. Jerry, good morning.
Good morning, Bob.
Yeah.
What do you want to start with today? I got a lot in the rundown today for the call.
Well, I will say this. The Mamdani thing has gotten my attention quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I've chatted a little about it, but
let me show you what I found in the newspapers today. They
the
actually
newspapers? What is that?
still have newspapers, believe it or not. And I'm down in Florida, and the only two papers I could find were the New York Times and the New York Post.
Right, because everyone in New York, by law, at a certain point, has to move to Florida.
So this New York Times, the paper of record, they had a front page way down at the bottom, 3 little paragraphs.
Okay.
Stymied on Netanyahu, Mamdani takes to video, talking about how he went on TikTok. He loves to go on TikTok.
Right.
However, just to show you, this is the venerable paper of record, right?
Yes. All the news is fit to print.
Yeah, and it gets 3 tiny little paragraphs. There's a huge jump, but it's all the way back in A19.
The jump page A19.
Just to compare and contrast, I want to show you what the feisty local paper, the New York Post, did.
The local.
A whole front page and a much spicier headline: "Reality killed the TikTok star."
Okay.
You know, he should stay off of TikTok.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, let's talk about this now. You and I both used to work for an individual who was a genius when it came to some things and not so much when it came to others. Okay, we're talking about Roger Ailes, who ran Fox News Channel. You were a big deal there. You were the daytime EP. I was one of the anchors there. And you told me that he used to take all the bigwigs behind in a meeting every week and essentially do what you just did.
Yeah, let me tell you that story. I had such a good experience with Roger Ailes. And, later when all the other stuff came out, I was like, oh, my God. But I was lucky enough with a group of other executive producers. Every Thursday at 10 a.m., we would meet in the big conference room upstairs on the second floor where all the big suits sat. And we would all filter in, and there'd be piles of newspapers, including the New York Times.
As we used to have. Yeah, hard copy. Yeah.
Yeah, hard copy, right? So then the emperor himself would come in, Roger, and he would sit at the head of the table. And he wouldn't even say much, like barely a hello. But the first thing he'd do, he'd say, let's see what's in the paper today. And he would flip through the New York Times. And if he would look at the headlines, and if he found a headline that he thought was, left of center or extreme left in many cases, he would take out his pen and he'd circle it and hold us up. And he would tell us why the article was unfair. And he went through every single paper. The Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. I don't even think he bothered with the Post, to tell you the truth, because the Post is what it is. But, that's where we came up with the sense of fair and balanced, which you and I now call like left, center, right.
Yeah.
You have to, when you consume media, when you read media, try to understand where it's coming from, you know, because this is basically, you're now between this, and, 10,000 TV channels. It's like one giant schoolyard. And, you always had kids that were reliable. And then there were other kids that said, look, a wombat, like you just couldn't trust them, you know? And that's what we're dealing with here. And, an educated reader is valuable, and it empowers you to be a better citizen because you have better information with which to deal with life and the world, and especially around election time.
Yeah, and I would replace that word reader with viewer, because
with
now
viewer.
so many people don't read hard copy. I mean, I haven't gotten a hard copy paper for years, and I used to read probably 6 a day. Part of that on the train on the way into the city, but nowadays you do it all on your phone or your laptop.
Right. I just read something, Bob, that many young people are getting their news from TikTok.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. And in fact, as we've started this up, one of my daughters said, you all should put something on TikTok, which we will do.
Yeah.
But that is the way a lot of them consume. Jerry, you and I still do it every night, put on the evening news, even though like all three networks cover the same stories, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's uncanny. It's kind of a waste of a lot of people's time.
Yeah.
But young people don't do that. They don't sit down
No.
and watch. Now, as you get older, news matters more, and I get that. But yeah, they take this everywhere they go.
Yeah.
And so getting back to Mamdani, the reason I find this fascinating is he kind of encapsulates so many things that are going on right now. And politically, I think he's a gift to the Republicans. Because right now, if you look at most of the polls, the Democrats are leading and, who's better at handling this, that. How do you think Trump is doing? Not good on this, that. But
Right.
when you look at who the Democrats have to lead their party, there's no Bill Clinton out there. And
Yeah.
I know he's a live wire to talk about, but there's no good old Southern boy who's he may have been Slick Willie, but he was good with words and he knew what to say, and he was going to get that Southern good old boy vote.
Right.
They don't have that now. It's a different party. And when you look at somebody like Mamdani, he may be tapping into a populist disappointment with how things are going, but he's a socialist at best. And you're going to hear the word Marxist. You're going to hear the word communist. And when he comes on and does a big video about how he wants to arrest Netanyahu, and that's another issue that we could talk about, but this gives the Republicans a chance to say, see, this is your typical Democrat.
Right. You remember Bill, you remember the famous saying of his, I feel your pain.
That's true.
That's what people are looking for.
Yeah, George H.W. Bush, a lot of people felt like he was not feeling it. Remember, there was that anecdote about him going to the grocery store and something beeped to ring. So, would you look at that? And
he hadn't been in the grocery store in a generation. He didn't know what a scanner was.
Exactly. So a lot of people felt that.
But I think we've come full circle back now. I mean, that's why this people like Mamdani, or as some people call him, Mom Kami, is so appealing, especially to the younger class of voters.
Why?
Well, because I think they can see that their pain is not being felt. Like, do you see what the market's doing right now? The jobless number came out and it was not good, and so now there's a fear that the Fed may raise interest rates. So the Dow is down right now. The Dow is down like 400 points. The Nasdaq is down almost 2%.
Yeah. And it's because the treasuries are going up. I mean, we've got the 30-year over 5%. I don't want to lose people on getting too technical about this stuff. What it is the open market, the market itself, nothing that the Fed does, because the Fed does not control long-term interest rates. But what the market is telling you is things are getting more expensive. And in order to attract money, we have to pay more in bonds, treasury bonds and bills, notes and that sort of thing. So you have to raise, and our debt is so high. Again, this could be another conversation, but there are all kinds of problems going on right now. So you got the midterms coming up, and all I'm saying, just to go back to Mamdani, is if they had like a normal person, maybe that's me. If they had like a so-called normal Democrat, not that had a lot of those, he wouldn't be getting so much attention. I think the Republicans are capitalizing on that.
Yeah, and also the liberal media loves him, because he is very visual and he's always smiling, and he does a lot of these TikTok videos.
He's very good.
Yeah, but I read last night, an article about him in which they called him a kingmaker. And that now he is like the de facto head of this Democrat Socialist Party of America.
Right.
Do you believe he has that much power?
Yeah, and don't they all want like no borders, no prisons? I forget what else, but
and no Senate, no president.
And again, that's not going to happen. right?
Yeah.
But this is exactly what Republicans are going to use to say, see, they're all like that. And
Mhm.
an interesting thing, I'll bring up Nancy Pelosi's name. When she was in charge in the House, she was in charge. And the reason I know that is Republicans told me that. I wish I had a quarter for every time I had somebody say, yeah, she has a steel hand there and she's in
Mhm.
charge. And the Democrats didn't tend to make these mistakes. In fact, I could argue that Hillary Clinton shouldn't have won the nomination. I mean, we had Bernie Sanders that was going pretty strong back at one point, 2016, and the party started freaking out. Like he did
Yeah.
well in Iowa, and it's like, this can't
Yeah.
happen. But there's remember you have super delegates and how
Yeah.
they outweighed all the other. And again, we won't get into all that. All I'm saying is the Democrats don't have a clear leader. And when you have somebody getting so much airtime as Mamdani, it
Yeah.
probably, has mixed effect on whether that's good or bad for Democrats.
Bob, you sent along this morning a story about Geraldo Rivera. I thought he was long gone and retired, and he's living in Ohio or something.
Yeah, he's in Ohio. I used to work at CNBC. I used to sit next to the Erica, who ended up marrying Geraldo.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And she's a sweetheart. And
Yeah.
anyway,
But let me read you the headline. Geraldo Rivera warns that Trump has made liars out of the GOP in a tirade against MAGA groupthink.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this bothers you, Jerry, but it does bother me as an American that the people that go up on Capitol Hill and won't say that Biden won the 2020 election. I think that there's something wrong with that. And I'm sorry if you believe the election was stolen, but there's no evidence that it was stolen. And you can ask Fox News Channel, $787 million. That was against Dominion, I guess, for false claims. And the other thing I'm going to point out to people is one of the reasons that went against them is that they knew behind closed doors that the election hadn't been stolen, but they were pushing that position on the air. So when you watch some of these networks, folks, I'm just giving you a heads up that they're selling you a product and they're throwing, throwing it
Yeah, but
out
do you think MAGA has made the Republican Party stronger, attracted new members?
I think MAGA is a strong component of the Republican Party, and they're the loyalists that are kind of with Trump no matter what. But I think there are a lot of people who are not as committed. Remember when Trump said, I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and I wouldn't lose any votes?
He wasn't wrong. He's a little crazy.
No, he wasn't
in his
wrong.
rhetoric. But...
And by the way, you and I used to work on 6th Avenue, and I think there was some guy shot on 6th Avenue. It was near the jewelry district. And
that's right. Literally outside our front door.
Yeah.
And Trump Tower, remember, was just 4 blocks north of our office, our studios.
Yeah. But to get back to the Geraldo thing, I think what he was saying that it's like you're forced as a Republican to claim the 2020, that nobody goes up there and says, yeah, Biden won. They all say, well, he served as president. He was sworn in, and it's like.
Yeah, but that's like, he's saying that every Republican you meet must be a member of MAGA.
Oh, yeah, that's not true. Yeah, that's not true. And I think that's why there's some softness in Trump's numbers. Which, we're seeing. I think that there's a big portion of the country that votes that will alternate. So I'm one of them. I'll vote Democrat, I'll vote Republican. It depends on the candidate. But the thing is, most people vote the same way. They either vote as a Republican or vote as a Democrat. The question is whether they turn out. And that's why they try to keep people all revved up, right? Geraldo, you used to work with Geraldo, I think.
Geraldo? Yeah. I used to work very closely with his brother, Craig.
Yeah.
Who was also a reporter.
Yes. And
I went to Haiti with Craig during a revolution.
Wow.
And Craig got up every morning. His hair was perfect.
He
didn't even have to comb it.
I know. Craig was a great looking guy. I assume he still is. I'll tell you a story about Geraldo. Working with him at Fox, he had a birthday party. And so I went to his birthday party at his home. You know when his birthday is? 4th of July.
Oh, come on. Really?
Independence Day, yes. So we go to his house. My wife and I went over there. And he used to live...
In Fort Lee? Was it Fort Lee?
Yeah, somewhere over there on the water, right?
Yeah.
On the water.
That's right.
Didn't he used to have a helicopter? He would fly around, and anyway, he had this big yacht in the back on the water.
Yeah.
And he says, "Anybody want to get on the yacht and go down and watch the fireworks?" And
oh, wow.
is this a trick question? Sure. Let's do it. So we get on. The sun's going down, and a bunch of us get on. Some names that people would know, but I'm not going to drop them. So this was in 2002, okay? We know what happened in 2001 on 9/11, right? So we're on the boat and we're going down the Hudson because we're going to go down to a certain point where you can really see the fireworks show. And all of a sudden, we are surrounded by NYPD gunboats. And
oh, my God.
These guns trained on us. And they're on they say, get on the other side of the river. Get on the other side.
Only Geraldo.
And then Geraldo pops up and he waves to them, and they're all like, "Geraldo, it's Geraldo." And so we were good.
Yep, it's Geraldo's world, and we just live in it.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my.
That's a great story. But I'm turning a little bit more serious now. I got something for you. Both are security related. A Secret Service agent assigned to J.D. Vance's security team has reportedly been sidelined for allegedly leaking details about the vice president and his family.
Yeah.
I guess for money.
Yeah. First of all, no, you can't do that. I mean,
right.
I actually know. We have
and I'll tell you why, Bob. The second story, the Secret Service has announced that they have probed so far 10,000 threats to Donald Trump and other U.S. officials so far this year.
Is that unusual? I mean, when I ask that, is that normal for a president, or is that more because it's him? Because I truly don't know. Because whenever I hear a number, and this is the Wall Street guy in me, it's like, that's a number, but what do I compare it to?
This is from the Secret Service Director Sean Curran told reporters in a briefing ahead of Friday night's rescheduled White House Correspondents' Dinner. I guess that's coming up at the end of this week. Yeah. He said, the numbers are numbers that this agency and certainly I have never seen in my 24-year career.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
It's context.
Well, that's not good. And getting back to the Secret Service, part of their job is to keep everything. We have somebody close to our family who's actually going into the Secret Service in September. So it's the people in there, and I can only say on this person that I know, a high quality person who you want on your side. And so I'm hoping things go well.
Well, and you know what they say about the Secret Service, they only have to be wrong once.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. What else you got, Jer?
Let me see what else I got for you. This is a little lighter, obviously. Oh, should I just go A-bomb? Leave you on a leave
go
with
ahead.
With your hair out like this. Joy Behar.
Yeah.
You remember her of the View?
Yeah.
She shocked the audience on Wednesday's episode of The View when she pulled her married guest Anson Mount, an actor, for a big kiss right on the mouth live on the air.
Yeah, as he came out, I actually went back to watch that. And
you did?
Well, sometimes we talk about some of the stories we're going to talk about, and some are not covered. I did want to say, okay, let me see what the big deal was. My wife happens to watch The View every day. Okay. So I go back and watch it. She records it. Yeah. Don't Look,
Okay.
there's a whole world out there, Jerry. I remember when I was at Fox and I was in your office one time. You were the daytime EP, and I forget. I remember who you were in there with, but I mentioned something that I heard on NPR, and
Oh.
you looked at the other person. Oh, he's listening to NPR. Look, I absorb all kinds of things and
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
myself. That
Well,
doesn't
you know,
always
then
serve well. But
after that, I decided I was going to listen to NPR in the morning on the way in just to know what the enemy was saying. You know?
Well, Roger did and identify a market out there for conservatives. It
Oh,
felt like,
he certainly did. You
yeah.
know, when he fired me the first time,
And
I
how
was
many
with
times
Fox.
did he fire?
He fired me 3 times,
And hired
and
you?
he hired me 3 times. So the first time he fired me, he said he wanted to see me, and I said, "Oh, okay, maybe there's hope." You know, I had 3 kids, a wife, a house. Maybe he's going to send me overseas or something just to get rid of me. But I have a job. I go up there and I go, "Sir, I'm sorry to have disappointed you. Is there any other place in the company for me?" "No, there is not, Burke. I just wanted to tell you to your face that you had nothing to do with the success of this company." Now, I'd been there for like the first 5 years, and then it was explosive growth. You know, I got there after it was on the air for like 2 years. And by then, by the time my 5 years was up, we were number 1. We were beating MS
Oh,
and
yeah.
CNN combined.
Yeah.
He said, "I wanted to tell you to your face, you had nothing to do with the success of this place. You, Burke, got on an elevator that was already going up."
Wow. Why do you think that was important to him?
Well, you know, he was constantly paranoid. He didn't dislike people. He hated them. I mean, he was very binary. You know, you were
Yeah.
either his best friend or his mortal enemy. And once his opinion of me changed, and what could
Yeah.
I have done that would terrorize,
Exactly.
you know, the CEO?
You were going to go
of
places. Yeah.
Roger Ailes. So about a year went by. This is probably a story for another time, but quickly, about a year went by, and I wrote him an email criticizing Channel 5 local news in New York, which was owned by Fox. And I said, "Roger, I think you left your hand off the tiller on this one. It's really pulling left over there, if you know what I mean." And his secretary called me immediately and said, "When can you come in? Roger wants to see you." So I went in to see him. He looked up and he said, "Does that wife of yours still hate me?" And I was like, "Oh, but I'll save that one for later. But that is a great story." I got a kicker for you.
Okay. Are you going to finish that one?
What? You want? Okay. All right, quickly.
Well,
Anyway, I go, "Roger, I don't know. What do you, what?
When I was at CNBC, I'm just playing through what you were talking about, Roger, what he would do. I had different seats, but I had a desk at one point in which I looked out into a strip mall across the street. This was in Fort Lee before they moved
I remember that.
Cliffs, okay?
Yeah.
And Roger bought some tractor trailer that had on the side of it all the Fox personalities, you know, all aside of it. So he parked it in that parking lot so you could see it from our building. And I knew nothing about him at that point. And I'm like, we do business news? I'm not sure what's going on. But I think the organization had gotten rid of him at some point.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. He used to run a channel called America's Talking. He actually had his own talk show on it. And they came in, Bill Gates came in, and they turned America's Talking into MSNBC almost overnight. And he was out.
Yeah.
So Roger had always carried a huge chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. So where do you want to go from here? Did you want to finish?
I have a kicker for you.
Okay.
Jimmy Kimmel, our dear friend, says that he's offered Stephen Colbert, another dear friend, the opportunity to guest host Kimmel's late night ABC show during Kimmel's summer vacation or any other time that Colbert would like to host.
And why is that?
He said that maybe it's too soon, but he feels that Steven still has a lot to offer.
Yeah.
And he's going to throw his friend a bone.
Well, I think from my awareness of that situation and story, I think Kimmel's show has done better than it's done in 23 years.
Oh,
And
really?
one of the reasons is he doesn't have that competition from Colbert, who, by the way, for me was always an odd duck. I mean, I never got into what he was doing, but obviously he had but you and I are from the Johnny Carson era, in which
Right.
like this one guy held together a network, and every night people would watch at least maybe the first half hour. I always said the reason people in the Midwest were nicer than on the coast is because they watched Johnny Carson an hour earlier because they were on Central Time.
True. Well,
but
Colbert has passed on the offer.
Yeah, well, I think it was. I think Kimmel was probably trying to show him some respect, and I think Colbert's working on some other projects, but we'll see.
Getting back to your Carson analogy, you're absolutely right. There was one man; he was the king of late night.
Yeah.
And now there's like 12, and they're all white guys.
Yeah. Are they? I haven't watched a late night show literally since the early 2000s.
No, I know.
I have no interest in them. They don't say anything to me that's funny.
Right.
They, for me, I'm bored to tears when there's just nothing in it for me. Now, having said that, there's no question that the Carson model was phasing out. I mean, things were changing, and he wasn't really in touch with a lot of people who were younger.
No, true. And I have to go to bed early because I have to get up early to start on the morning call show. That's
right, which is unusual for you. Aren't you a nighttime guy?
I am. But Newsmax nearly killed me. I had to get up in the middle of the night for that because I was doing a 9 a.m. show. So to produce a 9 a.m. show, you have to get up at like 4 or 5. So
well, I used to do morning shows. A lot of my career, I did morning shows.
I did Fox and Friends.
Yeah, I did Fox and Friends. I did a morning show, 2 of them at CNBC. I did them in local. I did them at Fox 5 in DC. I've done them in Seattle. And the thing about it, I would get up for CNBC at 3 a.m. to go in. Okay. I could get up at 3 a.m. and be to the office by 4. And I always felt like, don't wake me up at 2:59, because 2:59 is the middle of the night. But 3 o'clock, it's like
that's the morning. It's all here, Our
Exactly.
Our first meeting at Fox and Friends was 4:30 a.m. And I'm standing there with my eyes closed, wobbling back and forth. And Steve Doocy and Brian Kilmeade come bouncing in like little kids, going, "What are we going to do today, boss?" And I'm like, I haven't even had my coffee. Sit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they were real pros, by the way. I used to sub on that because I was a weekend anchor for Fox and Friends when I was there. And I subbed on all the shows. Like every show during the week, I was an anchor when somebody was out. And then I remember being on the show with Steve and Brian at different times. Let me tell you, I don't care whether you're right or left. Those guys, that's major league pitching.
Yeah.
They are so good at what they do. That's
so
something
smart.
Roger knew. That's something that like CNN to this day doesn't get. And they don't get what talent is and what they can bring to the table. Roger always got it.
Yeah, and both Steve and Brian are they're so smart, but even in a very tense situation, Brian or Steve would just make a joke and everybody would crack up and the tension would just go away, Such a fine-tuned machine that show is, even now.
Yeah, even now. Okay, is that it? Do we have anything else?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm out of my stories. We went through all your stories. Let's get the rest of the day going.
Okay. All right.
All right, peace out.
No. You have to tag this.
Oh, and remember, breaking news changes everything.
Bye, Jer.
Bye.